cornerstone laying ceremonies climaxed the 100th anniversary celebration of the Washington Hebrew congregation. Rabbi Norman Gerstenfeld introduces President Truman, presents him with a prayer book from the only Hebrew congregation in America founded by congressional charter. And in 1897, it was President William McKinley who attended a temple cornerstone ceremony. Now a new place of worship is to rise under spiritual leadership long devoted to tolerance and cooperation between all creeds. It is for cooperation against outbreaks of bigotry that Mr. Truman speaks, and he continues,
"If we ignore the spiritual foundations of our birth as a nation, we do so at our peril. It took a faith in God to win our freedoms. We will need that same faith today if we are to keep those freedoms in the face of the terrible menace of totalitarianism and war."
Then the cornerstone ceremony. The President uses silver trowels on the marble stone upon which is engraved the 10 Commandments in their ancient Hebrew form. A century of religious progress and achievement acclaimed by the nation's President.
The landmarks in Washington are in themselves enduring reminders of our sacred rights. From the Capitol, 9 miles to the northwest, a modern house of worship reaffirms our spiritual freedom under this nation's guarantee of the inalienable rights with which man is endowed by his Creator. In 1952, President Truman laid the cornerstone of the temple, which will open today with a Sabbath evening service attended by the present Chief Executive, Dwight D. Eisenhower. He is greeted by Dr. Norman Gerstenfeld, spiritual leader of the Washington Hebrew congregation. Founded in 1852, it is the only Hebrew congregation which operates under a charter granted by the Congress. President Eisenhower meets faith leaders and co-chairman of the National Committee of Friends of the New Temple. More than 2,000 are present for the dedication, which also climaxes commemoration here of the 300th anniversary of Jewish settlement in America. The President says there is nothing unique nor particularly extraordinary about his attending a religious service of another faith. Discussing the religious rights enjoyed in this country, he also stresses their protection.
These rights, then, come not because we have emigrated to this great and glorious land, crowded with God's resources, not because we have been more fortunate than our brethren elsewhere, but because each is a child of God. And any true American must recognize in another American those rights endowed by God, because if he doesn't, he is not true to the concepts of the men who wrote the Declaration of Independence. It is not enough to know that God gave those rights to you and to your neighbor. It is well to remember this also. You may not protect those rights only for yourself. You must protect them for all, or your own will be lost.